going to start the recording in progress. Right. Okay, so we're live. So welcome to another featured business brought to you by your host, James Moffat, and Visibility Impact. And okay, our special guest this week is Lorraine Taylor. You are 53rd guest, right? So just before we get started, just quickly, we'll just go around to let people introduce themselves so you know who's who. So starting with me, so I'm James Moffat, your host, originally from Scotland, Edinburgh. I now living since 2005, just outside of Bern in Switzerland. Right, let's go to Ina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ina. I'm from Moscow. I'm a writer, former journalist, and editor. And yeah, so good to be here. Thank you.
Victoria.
Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria. I am a community manager for Africa here in 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and always tuning in for these meetings because I really like listening to people's stories. Looking forward to today.
Right, Paul.
Paul, I'm from South Africa. I'm a youngster.
Like me.
Yeah, 21.
I do business scale up, like help business scale up.
Right, and based in Durban.
Based in Scotland, which is 30 minutes outside of Durban.
Okay, and Emily, I'll come to you in a minute. Martha.
Hello everyone, my name is Marta and I am also from 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and I work there as a community manager, currently based in Italy, but originally from Latvia.
All right, we're going to learn about, excellent. So we're going to learn about Lorraine soon, so you can hold back on yours. Emily is our guest singer that comes on every week. And because she's got a busy program, she normally just pops in, does a song and drops off again. So Emily, you can introduce yourself and then we'll go straight into the song that you're going to sing and kind of kick this off. So Emily, over to you.
So hi everyone, so I'm Emily. I'm English, but I live in Switzerland, in Lausanne, and I run holiday camps and birthday parties for children, and I do the singing on here each week.
All right, excellent. And Jeanette has just joined. So Jeanette was our last week's guest. And maybe, Jeanette, we've just gone around just to introduce ourselves. So kind of perfect time. Just say who you are, where you're from and where you're living. And then we'll go back to Emily and she'll kick it off.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. I'm Jeanette. I'm from Dublin originally, and I'm based just outside Geneva. Excellent.
So Lorraine is our featured guest, so we'll learn about her in a minute. But Emily, you're going to kick this off with the song. So tell us the song, and you're on your own this week, I guess.
Yeah, I'm on my own. So I hope I haven't sung this before. I don't think I have. It's called Dream a Little Dream.
Oh, nice. We all need to dream at the moment of better things.
Yeah. Okay.
Lovely.
Wow.
Beautiful voice. Beautiful voice.
Wow.
A beautiful song.
Beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And those notes that you reached, the high notes, are excellent. Yeah. So well done, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
So what's your plans now for the weekend?
Me?
Yeah, partying?
No. Well, tomorrow night, yeah, but other than that, I have to work.
Actually, I have to confess that I've been following you a bit on Facebook, and all I see is you having fun.
I'm trying.
So I need to come and join, since it's not so far away. You have all these great dinner parties and just fun.
Yeah.
Right. So if you
I
ever
got the money, we go to party.
Right. Okay. So thanks, Emily, for that beautiful song. And
for listening, everybody.
I know you have to shoot off. So if people want to get in touch with Emily, I mean, you can always find her on Entnest. If you're on LinkedIn as well, she's there. Or just come to me and then I'll share the details with you if they're not already there, and we can put them on the chat. Okay. So Emily, thanks again.
Right, bye everybody. Thank you for listening.
Bye, thanks.
Have a great
Bye,
weekend.
Emily.
Bye.
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks. Bye. Okay. So to our 53rd guest, right? Lorraine Taylor. Lorraine Taylor or Lorraine
Spring. Yeah.
Spring or Taylor? Which one?
Well, I can never decide, so I call myself Spring Taylor. It sounds a bit like a Chinese vegetable, but some people know me professionally as Spring, and some people know me professionally as Taylor.
Okay.
So there you go.
But you use both. I mean, you hyphenate and use both.
Yeah, yeah. So when I got married, I didn't want to lose my name, so I kept it.
So which one is your name, your surname?
Well, my official Swiss surname is Spring.
All right.
My maiden name is Taylor, obviously. Yeah. But I thought I didn't drop Spring because it kind of is a nice name, Spring.
Yeah. Well, you can have a spring in your step, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. So, Lorraine Taylor, this is your life. Right? Did you remember that on TV?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I was never invited. This is the closest I'm going to get.
Right. Actually, I used to enjoy that. That kind of shows my age. I don't know if did they still do that?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Okay. Anyway, so Lorraine, right, we want to know about you.
Yeah,
So,
it's a nice opportunity to talk about me. Thank you.
Also, we want to know basically what's behind you, but we'll come on to that a bit later. So first of all, take you on a little journey of who you are and kind of where you're from. So where are you living now and where you're originally from? Because you have something, I'm sure you're going to have lots in connection with other people, but let's start off with where are you living now and where you're originally from?
Well, I live in Bern, in a very beautiful part of Bern, and I'm originally from Wales. That means I was born there. I didn't really grow up there because my parents moved a lot. So I've moved a lot in my life. I lived in New Zealand, lived all over England. So a bit of a nomad.
Okay. So where in Wales are you from?
Oh, 𝗬𝗢𝗦𝗧.
Same to you.
There you go. You want to know more? Which has now been renamed Gwynedd because the Welsh are a bit nationalistic about their language.
Yeah.
So everything's been renamed. It's a little town right on the coast. It's very pretty, actually. Yeah. Lots of long empty beaches. I was there 2 weeks ago because my parents live there. So I've just come out of isolation today.
All right.
Or quarantine.
Actually flying there, was that a problem?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, I flew I got my parents at 89. So my mother looks after my father. So last year I was going over quite a lot. And I was going backwards and forwards. But this time was the most restrictions I've ever had. They should have done this last year, really. Yeah. So I've had in the last 3 weeks, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 COVID tests.
Wow.
And
this is just so you can fly.
Yeah. And a lot of money. I had to pay £250 50 francs for 2 COVID tests to get into England, 100 to leave Switzerland, and then I had 2 when I got back, but they're paid by the government here.
Wow.
And I got antibodies as well, so you know they were negative naturally.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.
Let's move off that subject.
Yeah, we could talk about that one all day, but that's just go back. So you're a good friend of Tom Jones.
No, not
you went to school with
particularly.
Tom
I know
Jones?
of him, though. I know of him, of course, and his music, but I can't say that I'm a good friend of.
Oh, you didn't go to school with him?
No. I didn't go to school in Wales, only for a year. I went to 12 different schools.
All right. Wow.
I know, it's a wonder I can read and write, really, but there you go.
So what took you to New Zealand? Was that with your parents?
Yes. I think I was 11. My mother's family all emigrated there, and then my mum and dad followed.
But your parents
my dad got homesick, so we came back after 2.5 years.
All right. But your
So
parents are
I've got
both
a lot
Welsh?
of family over there. Sorry?
Your parents are both Welsh?
No, no, neither are Welsh, actually. They just live in Wales. My mother was born in London. So, I mean, she's lived in Wales nearly all her life, but the Welsh would not call her Welsh. She speaks Welsh, but they wouldn't call her Welsh because she's not born there.
Yeah, it's like living here, isn't it? Switzerland. I'm not Swiss.
Yes.
My kids are born here, but they're not Swiss.
All right.
Well,
mine have got a Swiss passport, though. Have yours got a Swiss passport?
No, I don't want one.
Oh, it's great help.
I'm waiting for a global passport, actually.
Really? Yeah, okay. You can wait on.
I'm waiting for like planet Earth passport. Right.
We've all got one of those.
Yeah. But anyway, we digress. So you have siblings, brothers or sisters?
I have one brother, 4 years younger than me. He's a landscape gardener. He lives in Wales, near to my parents.
All right.
And a musician. He's a very good musician.
Okay. So what took you to New Zealand then? You said your parents moved
No,
there.
my parents took me.
Because of work or just because of...
No, they emigrated. Like I just said, they emigrated.
So it wasn't emigration and then...
Yeah, and then they came back. Yeah, but I've got a lot of family over there. I've been twice over to visit them.
Okay. What part of New Zealand was it?
Well, they live where I lived in the North Island, near Wellington, somewhere called Lower Hutt.
Okay.
And 𝗦𝗘𝗔𝗔𝗍. So I learned some of these Maori things. Oh, carry on. I can still remember some, actually. Quite cool.
Yeah. And so did you not fancy staying there then? I mean...
well, I came back. I was young, so my parents came back. And when I went back to visit, I liked it, but I didn't feel that it spoke to me. I mean, it is a beautiful place, but it doesn't speak to me. The land that speaks to me the most is Devon.
Mm-hmm.
I always go to Devon, visit Devon, the gardens in Dartington, the coastline. That's where I feel part of my heart is. So I've done quite a lot of courses down there in Devon at a place called 𝗪𝗢𝗪 College.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's ever interested in interesting courses, look up 𝗪𝗪𝗪 College. It's an alternative college. They do lots of very interesting eco stuff and new age stuff and regenerative gardening and farming and stuff. Very interesting place.
Okay,
I've
excellent.
done a lot of courses there. One I did a couple of years ago, in 2014, called the Right Livelihood course. And this was a year's course to find our right livelihood in life. So it's like a sort of journey that we did over a year. During that year, it took us to Bhutan. So we went to Bhutan, hiking up to Tiger's Nest and learning about gross national happiness. Bhutan is ruled by gross national happiness, which is a really excellent way to rule a country. So we learned all about that. And some of those principles that I learned there, I actually use in my workshops that I do, which is to do with reconnecting to nature workshops and finding your purpose.
Excellent. So before we get there, let's just take...
Am I leading the conversation by any chance?
Because you're talking about your business now, we want to still learn a bit more about you.
Okay.
So growing up as a kid, anyway, there's not any particular order for this. Let's just kind of jump backwards and forwards a little bit. So we're going to go
I'm 5'4".
5'4".
Mm-hmm.
Did I ask that?
No, I just thought I'd add that.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think that's the same size as my mum, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't
So-
have given you that red herring, should I?
No, it's got me thinking about my mum, and I need to go back to the UK now and visit her. So thanks for the reminder. Right. So, what brought you to Bern?
Oh, the illusion of love.
Oh, the illusion of love.
Yes.
All right. So a Swiss guy, obviously.
Guy. That's why I got a passport immediately. I got married because in those days, you know how patriarchal Switzerland is.
Yeah.
If a man married the woman got the passport straight away, but the other way around, the man had to wait, I think, 5 years until he could cook fondue and stuff like that.
Before he could hold your hand.
Yeah, or cook fondue.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how did you meet?
Oh, that's romantic. Okay, so my profession is that I do 5-element acupuncture and homeopathy. I might come on to that. I used to be a nurse and I got sort of a bit disillusioned with school Western medicine and found by chance Chinese medicine and got interested in homeopathy. And I went to Greece on a course by a very interesting guy, 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛𝗪, who was teaching homeopathy. And lo and behold, there was this little Swiss guy there and we met up on the beach.
Oh, so he saw you running along the beach in your bikini, like in a Bond movie?
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you pretended you were drowning and he rescued you.
No, he snapped me up.
Oh, nice. So he was in his Speedos running down the beach?
I can't remember what he was in. I think we might be naked, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but we won't go into that now.
Okay.
I mean, this was a long time ago now. We're actually divorced and very good friends. So, yeah.
Okay.
And we've got 2 kids.
So then you came to Switzerland and married him.
I did, yes.
Right. And you have children?
2 children. A daughter who is a super cool, dynamic lady, just last year set up her own NGO, just given up a job with the Swiss government to run it.
How old is she?
She's 32.
Wow.
And my son, who's actually following in my footsteps. He went to England and learned 5-element acupuncture. And for the last 2 years, he's been working in my practice.
Oh, so both the kids are here in Bern?
Mm-hmm. Well, my daughter spent a lot of time abroad with the Swiss government. She's a lawyer, human rights lawyer, and has worked all over mainly Africa, because she loves Africa.
Okay. Yeah, so we should have your kids on here as guests as well, because yes. I know we talked earlier about your daughter and what she's done. Yeah, would be great for the listeners as well. So anyway, so let's just kind of go back a bit now to your childhood. So things that you enjoyed as a child.
I don't remember much about my childhood. I remember riding my bike.
I mean, what did you love?
And I was always very connected to nature. I just was always out in the woods and in the meadows and talking to flowers and stuff like that. So it's interesting that that's what I do now is reconnection to nature workshops.
Yeah.
And I used to play the clarinet when I was a bit younger as well.
So as a kid growing up, I mean, I am just reading some of the notes here. You played in a band.
Yeah, I played in the school orchestra and in a little jazz band.
A jazz band?
Yeah.
The clarinet?
Yeah.
And it became a famous jazz band?
No.
No.
I was the youngest member, though.
Right. So contemporary jazz or kind of?
Yeah, contemporary jazz, yeah.
All right.
No, traditional, I'm talking, no, traditional jazz, yeah, not contemporary.
Oh, typical jazz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Traditional jazz.
And now, do you still play?
No, because I went off to London to train as a nurse. And then, I got distracted by London and everything else going on in my life. And there was not really a place to practice. So I gave it up. And so just last year, I treated myself, January, I treated myself and bought myself a saxophone. So I'm learning the saxophone.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, that's a nice jazz instrument. I
Yeah.
can't play quite that well.
But have you got either instrument there that you can give us a tune?
No, I'm definitely not going to give you a tune.
No?
I haven't got the clarinet anymore, but I've got my saxophone. No,
You don't want
I won't do
to
that.
give us a quick.
No.
No.
I will not. I can play. I'm learning to play. I'm only on book 2.
All right. Maybe we can have you instead of, if Emily can't do it.
Oh, I wouldn't.
well-
Emily's so good. I wouldn't substitute me.
Well, Boyan said he was going to substitute her one week. Right? And we've heard him sing and it's terrible.
I do everything for money.
Okay. So, but you never fancied being in a band here, because I know in Bern that there's a few kind of jazz basement bars and things where they play some nice music.
No, I have other aspirations.
All right. Okay. So then, you started as a nurse in any particular field?
Well, we did general. I think everything's specific now, isn't it? I did general nursing first, and then I did intensive care nursing for 6 months. That's pretty heavy. That was pretty heavy, actually. And yeah, and then I decided that medicine wasn't really curing people. So I did something which was frowned upon in those days, because, you know, nurses were meant to be angels working for no money and because they loved it and all that kind of nonsense. I mean, I did love it, but so I became an agency nurse, which means I earned a lot of money. And so I would work like Christmas and those kind of times when people didn't want to work, earn double the amount of money, and then travel for a month. So I went with a couple of friends on a red double-decker bus. We went all the way through Europe, all down to Casablanca on a red double-decker bus.
On a red double-decker bus?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That reminds me of Summer Holiday by
Oh, yeah,
Cliff
Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't there.
But yeah, don't you have to be careful? Double-decker buses in Europe for tunnels and things?
I don't know. I wasn't driving. I wasn't driving.
Oh.
Well, we didn't hit anything. So the interesting thing that happened, though, we were about, how many were we? We were about 6 of us. We converted the top to beds and the bottom to a kitchen.
Yeah.
I think we were about 6 or 8 people. And we drove down. We didn't read any news or anything. We just, you know, had a good time. And then we hit Lisbon just when the coup was. Now I'm showing my age. And so we drove into Lisbon and there was all soldiers everywhere. And you can imagine what they thought of these kind of hippies arrived on a double-decker bus. And we thought, oh, what's going on here? So that was a bit of a highlight, really.
Was it kind of like an old London red bus?
Yeah, it was an old London bus, you know, the ones you could run and jump on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the back was open?
Yeah, yeah.
So you went all the way from the UK to Lisbon and open...
We went all the way to Casablanca, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
When was that then? What year was that?
Oh, I can't remember the year.
Yeah,
I'll have to look back in my kind of...
But did they still do that then? Or?
I have no idea. I think we were the first, and I don't know if we were the last. I think we're definitely the first. But all my money that I earned private nursing doing that. Then I come back to London with no money and then work again like crazy and then travel. Yeah, but the adventure, several years. That adventure of a lifetime. I mean, everything from the being on the bus, the sleeping on it and everything. It's great. I mean, we had another guest that did something similar in South America, like traveling down. And they bought an old car and, well, no, like a minibus type thing. And then put sleeping bags and things in and traveled to just use this and then sell it again at the end. So someone else can do it. But a lot of people kind of do this in Australia and other places. Yeah, we had a couple of Australians on the bus. It was originally their idea. We just joined them. You don't have any pictures of that then? We didn't take, no phones then, and I didn't even have a camera. As a nurse, I couldn't, I didn't afford a camera. But I just have it here. I have it in my head. Yeah, I'm just trying to picture it now. So I'm picturing like
the scenes from like Cliff Richard and that on the double-decker bus going down there, you all singing on the bus.
We were all doing all sorts of things on the bus.
Exactly. But anyway, let's move on from the bus. So when you arrived in Switzerland then, what sort of business did you do then?
You know, I'd been working in England. I had my own practice in 5-element acupuncture in England.
All right. So you,
yeah.
How did you get into that then?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And it's something I teach in my workshops about following your gut feeling. So I left nursing because of, I did a psychiatric secondment looking in the psychiatry. And I was so shocked about what I saw there and how we're really not helping people or curing people. I decided there must be, the causes of disease must go some further back. It must be in society, it must be in culture, whatever. And so I went to university and studied social sciences. And from the hours of nursing, I don't know if you remember, we used to do split shifts, and God knows, we were working all the time, nights. And suddenly I was a student and there was all this time and energy to explore different avenues. And so I kind of got into yoga and Tai Chi and all those, and got really interested in Eastern philosophy, and actually used to go to the Eastern philosophy lectures instead of my own. And then when it came to the end of the course, the idea was then to do a practicum and then go practical and go into social work. And I was thinking, I'm not quite sure if that's really the answer either. And then something quite interesting happened. A friend of mine who I hadn't seen for a whole year turned up, and she just looked so well. She looked what I called shiny. And I said, wow, Jane, what have you done? You look so good. She said, acupuncture. She just said that word. I mean, I couldn't even spell it, but I knew that's what I'm going to do. I just knew in my guts, and I dropped everything and found a place to study, and that's what I did.
So how long?
Never looked back.
So how long have you been doing that? Oh, okay. So
40 years.
Wow. So you really think acupuncture really helps?
I don't think it. I know it.
You know it?
Oh yes, definitely.
But it can cure a lot of problems.
Can cure a lot. I treat everything from hay fever to depression.
Really? Because my eldest son, suffers big time from hay fever, and I'm fed up with all the stuff that they get.
Yeah, and it's miserable. The sun comes out and the flowers come out, and you stuff up. I think it's miserable. Hay fever. Yeah, it's a shame.
Can I send him to you?
Yeah, send him to my son because I'm a bit busy.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's really helpful. And also I worked for a little while in the hospital because I also did some research and to pay for my acupuncture training, I did research as a research nurse. And I was invited to work a bit in the NHS with it, which was interesting. And where it's very, very helpful is people on chemo, because the side effects of chemo are so horrendous. And I'm treating, at the moment, I have about 3 or 4 people who are on chemo, and they're the only ones in the department who are not having terrible side effects.
Wow.
Yeah, it really should be on oncology. It's such a shame it's not, because it's really helpful. I have one oncologist who sends me patients, actually. Yeah, so it does a lot more. And I have to add here, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, there are different kinds of acupuncture. So really do your research. I do something called 5-element acupuncture, which is a really classical system of acupuncture, very connected to nature and the rhythms of nature. The things you see around, you'll probably have seen them all around town, everywhere in Switzerland, these TCM centers, where the Chinese set up these centers. And I have to say, it's just big business. This is not the really true, this is the communist acupuncture that Mao set up to cure people back to work. And it's really not the best, not all of them, but.
So that's like a McDonald's.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Not everyone, but if you want to know which ones I would approve of, let's say, you can get in contact with me. There's one in Bern who I collaborate with, but all the others, you'll you'll have a translator when you're telling your problems. You'll have a 15-minute diagnosis. You'll have about 20, 30 needles stuck in you, left for half an hour. And with 5-element acupuncture, I'm talking to you for at least an hour in the first time, or an hour and a half, really to find the cause of the problem. And then I'm pulling on that thread. And I will do 1, 2, 3 needles at the most. And you'll feel better.
It can cure many things. I'm just curious on if there's anyone in the audience that has had acupuncture.
Yes. Has anybody? Would be
Anybody?
to hear?
No? Jeanette?
Oh, yes, I did. So I was, yeah, I did it at one point, actually. Maybe I didn't do it for long enough. I wasn't sure really if it was really treating anything.
Did you go to one of the centers, Chinese centers?
Yeah, I did. It was to do with something to do with iron levels and tiredness,
yes,
but I'm not sure really it helped that much. I mean, I can hear what you're saying and I believe it, but personally, maybe it needed to be over a longer period of time. I'm not sure.
Well, just remember there's different kinds of acupuncture, and you probably, I don't know how you felt you were treated when you were there, if you felt understood.
Oh, very well. It was very professional
good
and
one.
very,
Okay.
oh yeah, it was excellent. It was in Geneva. No, it was excellent, amazing.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah. Yeah, with iron deficiencies, you often need Chinese herbs as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ina,
Thank you.
Ina?
Well, actually, I have no experience with acupuncture, but everything Lorraine says resonates with me because I do believe in traditional medicine. I mean, there's Chinese or Indian types of medicine, and I think it's closer to nature and to our natural biorhythms. So yeah, it's very interesting. Thanks for
thank you for saying that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very curious about it. It's something that I've seen and I always like poo-pooed it. Someone sticking needles in you. I didn't fancy that, but the more recently that I hear about these stories about acupuncture, but also kind of the origins of it, and how everything is more earthly and resonates more with kind of something natural rather than pumping you full of crap, basically. So yeah, I would be curious to see, particularly for my son, because it's terrible, his allergy at night. And I mean, he's struggling to breathe at night. And it's
homeopathy or acupuncture I would try.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually for hay fever, I do a case history, find out how their general health is, support the general immune system. Then I put a needle in the ear that stays in the ear. And in 80% of the cases, just the ear point helps a lot.
Actually, can you help with hearing?
With what?
Yeah, with what? I was saying with hearing.
I thought you said that, so to be sure. You know, the thing is, the symptom is the guideline into who you are. And so if you can't hear well and Jeanette can't hear well, there'll be completely different points because you're completely different people. And that's the key to the 5-element acupuncture, is what kind of person do I have in front of me? Which element are you? So there are 5 building blocks in nature, and we all have these building blocks inside us, but one we have that's a bit out of balance. And so I'm finding which one of those building blocks is out of balance and putting it back in balance.
Okay, so let's focus a bit more about your business, because we've kind of gone into that already. So was there, I mean, from nursing to acupuncture and to what you're doing now, was there something that triggered that turning point that you saw, or something that you said, well, I want to do that? Or how did that happen?
From doing the work from acupuncture to doing the workshops?
Well, really from being I mean, you're a nurse and having fun, earning money, and then how did you get into the acupuncture or whatever you started your practice in the UK?
Sorry, didn't I answer that question?
Not really.
Well, I went to university in social sciences, and then I came across acupuncture because I was very interested in Eastern philosophy, going to lectures on Eastern philosophy and doing yoga and Tai Chi. And then it sort of led me to that path in a way.
Okay.
And then I started my practice.
Okay. So your practice in the UK, you just kind of moved it to Switzerland.
Yeah, so I set up a practice. I was teaching yoga there, and in the ashram where I was working, I set up a practice. And then when I met my now ex-husband, he's a doctor and a homeopath. And so we had quite a lot in common. And he was just opening his GP's practice here when I came over. So I was very fortunate in that I just worked in a GP's practice, and so I wasn't actually allowed then to practice alone. I could only practice under the supervision of a doctor. So it was fortunate that I married a doctor. So I worked with him for 16, 17 years. And actually, I was very fortunate because I got to see cases I wouldn't normally have seen if I was in a private practice. I got to see people who come in to see their GP with coughs and colds and pneumonias and pains and all sorts of stuff. And then I could get blood work done, and it's a great experience. It gave me a lot of experience in treating those kind of cases. Yeah. Okay.
So tell me a bit more about your business now. I mean,
well, I've done acupuncture now for, I suppose, since 1986 is when I finished training.
Yeah,
so
okay. You mentioned about these 5 elements. So what's the name of your business?
Well, I just got a new website. My business used to be called 5 Elements. It's called 5 Elements Connect now. That's okay. In the pandemic, I kind of did a whole new me. Because the 5 elements are like 5 characteristics in us. So the 5 building blocks of nature are the 5 elements. That's fire, earth, metal or air, water and wood. And so we have all those elements inside us. And you have characteristics of one. So I'll give you a little giveaway. I'm fire, okay? What fire does is inspire people. They chat, they like to make connections, and they have also, there's also a shadow side to each element. I'm not going to tell you my shadow side, but that's my good side. And there's the wood element, and those are people who like to network and are goal orientated and have a vision. And the earth types are the ones who like to cook, like to stay at home, like harmony, the mediators. And so I took all these elements that I'd learned over the years and I made them into a whole coaching model. And so I coach using that, because if I can find out what type you are, and I can see that you're having problems making decisions, I can help you to make decisions knowing what type of person you are.
Can you change elements to have one more prominent than
the other?
We
have all the elements in us. That's always a question people ask. Thank you. We have all the elements in them. So if you're mainly a wood element, let's say, you might be an earth within the wood. So that will temper how you express your wood.
Yeah. Because
does that make sense?
I say that because as a child, I was extremely shy, and I'd always like go behind my mum and hold on to a coat or whatever if we go out. And if someone said boo to me, I'd start crying. Yeah. Right. So but now I find I'm kind of the opposite. Like I don't care now. I've done like so much public speaking and things like that.
Yeah, but you brought your shadow into the light. You've seen what your weakness is, and you've worked on it and brought out the good side of your element. So, if you told me that as a patient, I would be treating your gallbladder, because the gallbladder is about making decisions. It's about courage, things like this. It's about...
So removing fear.
Fear is to do with water. It's to do with your kidneys. So each element has an organ, it has an emotion, and it has a spiritual, let's say spiritual... element. So wood wants goals, water wants to unfold potential.
So for me personally, I'm fascinated with this because I want to see Yeah, I want to see the connections. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Because inside all of us, maybe it's the way that we do things, the way that we fear things, the way that we go about our day-to-day life. So understanding, but also you talk a lot about nature as well. So, but nature and well-being, as in the foods and things that we should be eating or shouldn't be eating. Do you get involved
Yes,
in?
I do advise a bit on that, of course, because that's that's really important. I mean, the Chinese talk about the thing that makes our energy, which is called qi, is the food we eat and the air we breathe, and that makes it our energy. So clearly, if we're eating McDonald's and breathing polluted air, that's the kind of energy we have inside us. I mean, I think that's fairly logical. But how I've moved on from this system is that I'm very concerned about climate change. And I think we have a big disconnection from nature, which is also a disconnection from ourselves. So what I do now is workshops related to finding out about the elements, and then we go into nature and do projects in nature to kind of reflect back to us about ourselves or about what's going on. And that's what I'm doing. So tomorrow I have my workshop on the metal element, which is about self-worth, letting go, moving forward. So perfectionism, the metal is the idealist.
So your workshops are online or in person, or a combination?
Now last year they got cancelled. And so the ones I'm doing now are 5 steps to one big change. So we go through each element, one day through each element over several months. And then next year I will do an intensive in England, in Devon. It's my favorite place. And we'll have an intensive 5 days going through each element and then doing projects in nature.
So you're traveling to Devon?
That's my plan next year. I had to cancel this year. Next year will have to be next year, yeah.
All right. But is Devon, I mean, a mystical kind of place as well, in the way where you do it there, particularly for a reason?
No, because I'm very attached to Devon. I just feel that I love Devon. I feel my heart's in Devon, and the nature there is so amazing. So if we're looking at the wood element in ourselves and in nature, we could go on Dartmoor, which is crazy wonderful. Yeah. And if we're going to look at the water element in us, which is to do with fear and unfolding potential, we're going to go into the sea and do it. So we're going to be in the element itself and understanding how that mirrors, how we mirror that actually.
Does this make you a more of a spiritual person as well? When you,
I don't know, how would you describe me?
Well, I think, I mean, I like to think connecting all of these things that most people don't associate with or would like to know but don't know. I think you're digging into things that, to me, is more the inside, who we really are, and how we're connecting not just with who we are, but our environment, as in the planet, the trees, the universe, and everything else. So I see it as something spiritual as well.
I mean, it's a difficult word, spiritual, isn't it? You know,
it depends on.
But we're all connected. You know, we're not just a body or a body and a mind. We're not just a body and a mind. We're an emotion, and then we're something else.
So I have to ask you, right? You've got behind you. You've got a sign. Maybe you can show people
Wake
what it says.
To the dialogue with nature. That's my workshops.
Okay. So, can you explain a bit more about what that is and why you're saying wake up? I mean, is it?
Well, because I'm so concerned really with climate change and people. I mean, look at the vote now in Switzerland. I mean, I was horrified at this vote.
You mean about the pesticides and things?
The pesticides, the CO2, the police thing, I knew that wouldn't go through. But to vote against reducing carbon dioxide levels and CO2 levels and reducing pesticides over 10 years, and they all voted no, it shows how disconnected we are from nature. And that's really my theme, is how I'd really like to get into high up levels with people who just don't connect with nature to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's my,
so just to bring people up to speed with what was going on in Switzerland, they had a vote just recently last week, and it was mainly about the farmers. There's two types of farmers. There's one that are more the bio farmers that don't believe in these deadly pesticides because it's polluting the water table.
And
there's loads of places you cannot drink the water because it's polluted with pesticides. And then there's the pesticide farmers, which actually the pesticides also, a lot of them are banned in the rest of the world, but they're still allowed here because they come from here. They produce them here, right? So they're still using deadly pesticides. So there's a big vote, right? A vote to keep the pesticides and everything as is, or to move away from that and to try and clean up the place. And believe it or not, they won the right to stay as is. So they still have the pesticides, and they're still carrying on with a banned pesticide that's not allowed the rest in the world, but they're still allowed to pollute the water tables and all the food that we eat here. Yet when you look at Switzerland, you think it's a beautiful, green, kind of fresh air, well-being place, and it's really not.
But it really shows the disconnection, doesn't it? I mean, it really
absolutely
shows the disconnection that money is what counts, and it's.
Yeah, but because the biggest argument was the farmers would then complain that, well, if they stop the pesticides, then they don't get these lovely green vegetables. Half of them will be more rotten, so they won't last as long. Then they have to produce more, and they said it's an economical thing.
Well, so, the right wing run that, don't they? And they've always used fear in their campaigns, and they say that we won't have enough food. But I don't know if anybody has ever seen a wonderful film called The Biggest Little Farm. Have you seen? I really recommend seeing that. Mm-hmm. It's about a couple who buy a farm they have no idea about farming. This farm is actually dead because it's been over-farmed. And in 7 years, they have it up and running, no pesticides, just using nature. So they have these birds that come and eat their peaches. So they bring in a bird of prey. They have these little animals that dig up the roots of the trees. So they introduce the owls that hunt. It's a wonderful film. They should show the farmers that film. And they're giving, we're going to give the farmers 10 years to reduce these pesticides. In 7 years, you could make the soil live again. I'm a bit passionate.
Yeah, just digressing a little bit. I've done a lot of work with a lot of startups in Switzerland that are saying that there's a completely new way that we can farm, that you use zero pesticides and you get
farming. Yeah,
there's so many new innovations, but the old style farming don't want to change because it costs money. But the government should step in with all of their trillions in the bank and say that we'll subsidize you, but you have to move away from this. We'll subsidize you for 10 years, right? So it's a money thing. But the thing is, there won't be enough people to feed anyway. So what's the point? Because they'll kill us anyway with the pesticides.
Yeah.
But anyway, we digress about that. So I love what you do. And this kind of resonates with me about, it's a wake-up call, not just for the environment, but also how to look after ourselves. And I think the most important thing is looking after yourself, because if you don't have your well-being, then nothing really matters. So it's about preserving yourself. So have you got any questions to the audience now? Have you got any questions to Lorraine, or Lorraine, have you got any questions to the audience?
Well, no, I'd love to hear what the audience, if they have any questions. I just put my website on the chat so you can see what I'm doing there.
All right, excellent. So any questions to Lorraine? Or Lorraine, have you got any questions that you want to ask the audience?
I've probably chatted too much, haven't I?
I mean, who finds this fascinating?
Yeah, no, I was going to jump in. I think it's amazing. I'm actually really into all that kind of stuff, but the problem is I find it really hard to find the time to, I actually did a yoga course in between jobs. I forgot to mention that last time. I'm a qualified yoga instructor, actually. Yeah, but I don't get to practice even myself. So I don't practice or I don't teach because I don't find the time. But hopefully I'll get back to it at some point.
Yes,
I do. Yeah. All the classes were cancelled this year. I try once a week after work to do either a yoga or Pilates class. I know once a week isn't enough, but it's all I can really manage. But I think those kind of things actually help anyway in your daily life with work and family and how you approach things and deal with things. That's what actually I really believe. I don't know what you think on that one, Lorraine, but I really those kind of things just help kind of ground yourself. And I'm also a big believer in just maintaining kind of healthy lifestyle and nutrition. So all the things you were talking about, I totally relate to, and I try and kind of embrace them in everything I do, but obviously don't do them kind of full time like you. I think it's really inspiring, the whole story about your coaching. So I must look at it in more detail. So thank you for sharing. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you for that.
So
I think it's true that yoga and eating properly, it's all about prevention. And what attracted me to 5-element acupuncture is it's a preventive medicine. So the classical Chinese doctor only got paid when his patients were well, and he was not paid if they got sick. Can you imagine how running a system like that? So it is about that. I mean, my idea is, they come in and I give them advice and they go out and they know how to look after themselves. It's absolutely very vital.
Yeah. So with my son, if you can help him get over his what was it? His allergy, then I'll pay you on the results.
You can have treatment on the Krankenkasse.
Sorry, say again?
The health insurances pay the bills.
Oh, would they?
If you've got a Zusatzversicherung, an extra, do you know about the Zusatzversicherung? The extra health insurance you can take out to have homeopathy and all that stuff. If you have that, they will pay 80 to 90% of the bills.
All right. Okay.
Get one of those.
Yes. So how do you can do this online, or it's in workshops, or a combination of both?
No, I can give advice.
I mean, not the acupuncture, because you can't do that online. I guess. You can't say, right,
I can give
put the needle in somewhere here.
Well, there's a whole other thing about virtual needling and distance healing, but we won't talk about that. I was asked to do them online, but I'm a people person and I need to feel the energy of the people I'm with.
All right.
Because I'm also not very structured, but so I have an idea of what I want to do, and then I feel the energy of the group, and so it will change according to people's needs in the group. Although there's basic things we will do, obviously, and so I've never tried it online. I've given advice online to people, but workshops, I've been asked to do it online, but for me, that I like to be in person.
I guess I'm fortunate because you're in Bern and I'm in Bern.
Oh, I have people coming from Link.
Yeah.
I practice
from
Zurich, from everywhere.
But I'm very curious about kind of finding out what element I
already know what you are.
Do you?
Can I frighten you all now? The thing about 5-element acupuncture is that you learn to look, you learn to listen, and the sound of the voice tells a lot about the person, not just the words, the sound.
It's the microphone.
No. And so, and your emotional reaction, you see how I'm very emotional, that would tell an acupuncturist a lot about me. Or if you're very still and you're very quiet, or you're very, did you say you were going?
No, I said the melody of the voice as well.
You see, so I hear your voice and I know a lot about your kidneys, for example. All those are ways of diagnosing that the Chinese medicine was so clever. And then you have the pulses, you have 12 pulses. So I will be assessing you according to all these things, and then I'll take your pulse to
iris diagnosis as well.
Sorry?
The iris, the eye. Iris.
I don't use eye diagnosis, no. I use voice sounds, emotional disposition, longings, let's say, or spiritual. It's difficult, this word.
So
smell of your body also.
Yeah, I need a shower.
I can't smell from here.
Right, so you said you already know what mine is.
I know, that's very rude of me. I mustn't say things like that. I get over enthusiastic.
No,
I would have from talking to you, I would have a feeling already about
okay. All right,
what I would treat
which
if
one?
you came to me.
I'm just curious because which one?
I say James is
Does
fire.
anybody else have a question?
Maybe we'll do a competition. So before you say what it is or what you think it could be, I mean, let's see, right? It's like earth, metal, water, wood, and fire. So Paul, which one do you think it is?
You, I think you're wood.
No, for me. I just want them to guess.
I say you fire.
Fire, okay.
No,
Martha, what do you think? No, don't say what it is.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Martha, what do
I
you
don't
think?
think it's fire. It's something more calmer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
calm, yeah. So which one? Metal, water, wood?
There's a water, maybe.
Water. I would say water.
Water? Okay, don't say Lorraine. Right?
I'm not going to say anything.
Boyan, which one do you think?
Water.
Water. Ina?
I agree, water. Although I didn't understand those characteristics of each element.
Yes, you need to know those before you can diagnose.
Because it's quite an association. So you are quite.
Well, that's why you have to do a training workshop just to understand what it is before people do it. And Jeanette, which one did you think?
Oh, I was more the calm route as well, but yeah, with that water.
Okay. All right. So Lorraine, which one?
Check the website.
Sorry?
Check the website.
I think you have to understand the elements. The elements, they have their characteristics and they have their pluses and their minuses. So
I'm still curious, which one initially were you going to say?
You know, if you came to me, I would have a feeling of your wood element.
Wood.
And then I would question you about it to see if I was right.
So wood is the green one. Let's see. Liver and anger.
Or lack of, you see, you can't just take it out of the pot and do that. You see, there's always a polarity. There's anger, there's lack of anger. There's joy, there's lack of joy. There's self-worth, there's lack of self-worth. Or there's over self-worth. There's fear and there's lack of fear.
Okay, I've got a lot of anger inside me.
I don't know, have you?
No, well, I hope not.
Or maybe you don't have enough anger.
I have, maybe. Oh, right. Okay, so I could be reading it all wrong.
It could be, yes.
Right, okay.
No, you can't just pick it out. You know, I'm being a bit sort of like a show woman doing this.
I think I'm full of love.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. That's great. Well, that's fire.
Anyway, we kind of gone over the time. So
Yes.
I just wanted to, I mean, this is so fascinating. I want to know more, but I mean, is this something that, I mean, besides looking at your website, if people did look in, want to know more, but we don't live in Bern, then how would we do anything with you?
Come to my workshops. Or if you live in Moscow or something, that's a bit far away, yes.
Okay. All right.
You can invite me to your country to come and give a workshop. How about that?
Yeah. Actually, if someone was to invite you, I mean, I'm just thinking outside the box now, right? And they were to get an audience. So then this was kind of, I'm just thinking, I don't know, using Paul as an example. So if Paul wanted to get an audience that would be interested in listening to you, then this would get you to come to South Africa. You do a workshop, and then he would kind of co-host it with you because he's brought the audience, but you're actually doing the training or whatever it may be. That something like that would work?
Yes, that's what I'd love to be doing.
Paul, would that work? I mean, just thinking wild thoughts at the moment.
Out of the box, yeah.
All right, okay. All right. Right,
yes,
anyway.
If you look on my website, I've developed certain tools to use in trainings. You'll see that's developed over 40 years of working with people. I've developed these tools to work within teams. So, and that's what I'm really passionate about at the moment, mainly for change, you know, to get people connected to nature. That's really what it's about.
All right. So
Yeah.
if I was to help you here in Bern and get enough people for a workshop, then I could, like, you could do some things for me.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
We're all in this together, aren't we?
We're in it together. Okay, of course. But we're in it together. Okay. I like that. Right. Okay. So are they, I know we could talk about this for longer, but was there any other questions from any of the audience?
Well, I don't have questions, but I would like just to say that it's a really fascinating story of yours, and it's a pleasure to get to know you. And as Jeanette said, I totally relate to your views and your experience. So thank you.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Actually, for me personally, I think the timing, although I try to hand pick the audience I want, but it's not always the right time that they're going to be presenting, or maybe it is the right time. And I just think that what you're presenting now is the right time for what's happening kind of on the planet.
Exactly.
So if I'd done you maybe 6 months earlier or 6 months later, maybe it wouldn't have resonated as much with people because of what's happening around us. So to me, maybe you meet people for a reason at the right time. And for you to present this, to me, it's kind of a wake up, my own personal wake up call that I want to learn more.
Oh, thank you for saying that. That's lovely. Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, so do you want to leave us with any kind of closing comments or anything?
The only thing I think is we should just all help each other, not be in competition, and help each other with, we all have a skill set. And if well, what I say to people is we all have a part of the puzzle. And if I have the strength and self-worth and self-esteem, whatever, to place that piece of puzzle, the other people also get a better picture. But if I never place that piece of puzzle, then everybody else has more difficulty understanding the picture. And so I think just, really follow your heart and your intuition to do what you know is right for yourself and your community and your family and the people around you.
Absolutely. I mean, I love your message and what you stand for. And to me personally, I mean, we're going to follow up and stay in touch. So anyone that wants to reach out to you, they can do it either through your website. So you've shared the link. Yeah. Right. So check that. I'll also put kind of these notes and things in EntNest so people can also check out there. And then also this recording, I typically put it through YouTube just so it's in a place that I can share the link. And then you can share the link with other people if they'd be interested as well. So to me, it's very, very fascinating. It's something I don't know too much about, but I want to learn more just for my own personal well-being. So I thank you.
That's good. Well, just that it's great that this hour and a half has been worthwhile. You're just saying that.
So great. I thank you once again for being.
Thank you, everybody. I must rush now because I've got to prepare. I've got a workshop tomorrow. I've got to go and prepare my room and stuff. So thank you all for coming, and thanks for organising this, James.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine, for being our 53rd guest. I need to check who's next week.
It's first in for the next year, like.
Sorry, say it again.
52 is 1 year, like 52 weeks. So this is the first for the second year.
Yeah, you're the first of the new year.
Well, that sounds good. I must
first sounds better.
Okay. All right.
Take care, everybody, and thank you for coming and listening to me. If you've got any questions, please just contact me. I love, as you see, I love to talk about this stuff. So.
Okay. Thanks, Lorraine.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a nice week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.